3 significant points for Chelsea, very much puts them in the driving seat to qualify for a Champions League place. A victory against Villa on the final day of the season would guarantee that. Meanwhile, for Leicester, well, the Foxes really are starting to sweat. They've got 1 game remaining, Liverpool 2, and if Liverpool beat Burnley, it could all come down to goal difference on the final day of the season. Well, let's welcome in, shall we, Frank Leboeuf and Shaka Hislop to the show. Let's start with you, though, Craig, first. Overall, Chelsea should have won this by more, shouldn't they?
Made some changes. Guys that probably should have played at the weekend at Wembley in the FA Cup final didn't, particularly Chilwell. Pulisic came in, was busy but not that effective. Once again, Mason Mount was a driving force from the middle of the park. Look, the stories around this game are Chelsea made it way more difficult for themselves than they should have done.
Yep.
They're falling over themselves in the final third, particularly Timo Werner still, and referee decisions. And then Leicester were a threat at the end when they went back to the 2 up front. Iheanacho was on the bench for them, and it was Jamie Vardy up front. When he came on, they put a bit of pressure on. Chelsea started to panic. There was a little bit, I won't call it fighting, but there was a little bit of pushing and shoving.
Yes.
Jose Perez missed a great chance, and I mean a great chance. He should have side-footed it, kept it down. He wumped it right over the bar. But the big problem here is Chelsea's football at times was good, and Chelsea's finishing was just poor. I mean, the goal that Timo Werner scored in the first half that was chopped off for a handball, I mean, it clearly hits his arm when all he's got to do is just go and put his head on it. I mean, he's 2 yards out. He can't even get his head on it. It comes off his arm. He goes celebrating to the crowd, clearly knowing that it's hit him in the arm and it's going to be chopped off. I just think that kind of sums him up.
Frank, overall, Chelsea made this harder than they should have, didn't they?
Yes, they did. Well, because for most, as a lack of inconsistency, they did well for an hour, and they started to be a little bit shaky. And especially when Iheanacho came on, I mean, I don't understand why Brendan Rodgers put him on the bench. It was good for Chelsea, but not good for Leicester. When he came on, he changed the game. But also because Chelsea started to drop and started to be scared. But yeah, definitely Chelsea was dominant and I guess deserved to win. But at the end of the day, we are always analyzing the game of Chelsea the same way every game they play. It's a lack of scoring goals. They have chances, they have so many chances, and they don't score, and they don't score, and they don't score. And they scare their fans, and at the end of the day, they scare themselves, and that's why maybe they're a bit shaky at the end of the game.
Overall, Shaka, maybe we're being a little bit negative because they did get it done, and they now very much have destiny in their own hands when it comes to Champions League.
Yeah, they did get it done, and that ultimately is all Thomas Tuchel was asking of his squad. And it probably could have been a whole lot easier, but for, as Craig mentioned, some refereeing decisions, and I know we'll get to, particularly that one in the first half, which, you know, might have just opened the game up and allowed Chelsea a little bit more space and have a little bit more joy in front of goal. For me, I thought Leicester, rather oddly, with just the one up front, never really seemed like they were going to pressure Chelsea at all up until Rudiger's first goal, and then they started to play. And it's only when Iheanacho comes on that they give Chelsea anything to worry about. But Chelsea were by far the better of the two teams, but for refereeing decisions, it could have been so much easier. But for Jose Perez's miss, they could have been again ruining drop points.
Well, let's talk about that referee decision in the first half, which is one of those head scratches, isn't
Another
it?
one.
It really is one of those, and this isn't VAR's fault. This is exactly what VAR is there to do, to help the referee out, to show him angles that maybe he didn't see. Yet, for some reason, Andre Mariner in the VAR booth said, oh, no, it's not a penalty.
Mike Dean was getting a lot of stick from the crowd. It was great to see a crowd back in the in these games, by the way. And nothing's changed. Mike Dean's still getting pelters. But I have some sympathy here with the referee because you make a mistake at full speed. I understand that. But Andre Mariner sat in the VAR booth to look at this. First angle, second angle, not 100%. Third angle from behind, absolutely nails it. When Timo Werner puts his left foot across Yuri Tielemans and he just goes to launch the ball and kick straight into the back of the Achilles stroke calf of Timo Werner. That angle was absolutely definitive that it was a clear and obvious error. And it didn't make a difference in the end, but it might have. And if you're looking at that angle and not telling Mike Dean to go and just double check it, you shouldn't be refereeing the game. I'm telling you, that's how simplistic this was.
Yeah, this is it, because I think, obviously, we debate on this show and I can sit here and I can play devil's advocate. I got nothing for this incident. Absolutely nothing, Frank. And this is something we've discussed before, that you've got somebody with the TV screen in front of them and yet they still come to 100% the wrong decision.
Yeah, I can't even find an excuse, you know. I feel sorry for Mike Dean, because everybody in the stand was booing him because of his decision. But I think his friend, you know, we should have told him something like, okay, it's a clear penalty, go for that. I think when was maybe in the restrooms at the time, because he didn't see. And if you in front of the TV, even somebody who doesn't know anything about football would tell you, oh, there is something wrong here. The guy just kicked the other one in front, you know. But Marina wasn't in front of the TV. It's impossible. He wasn't there. He wasn't there.
Shaka, was he having one of your Europa League naps?
It looks like it. I mean, that's the only explanation that makes any kind of sense, that the game was going a little bit slowly and, you know, sometimes you blink and it stays a little too long. Otherwise, I like everybody else, I'm struggling to even fashion some kind of a defense. I don't even know how to start trying to explain how that call was missed.
I heard somebody saying it to the TV. I said, is it a penalty? Yes, it depends what team you're. It's a penalty if you support one or support the other. It's just a penalty. Hey, the pubs are open in the UK again, guys. Maybe Andre Mariner had nipped out for a pint or something.
That's experience speaking, man.
I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, Timo Werner's having a tough time. He gets booted in the penalty box. Clearly, he doesn't get a penalty. He scores a goal. He's a yard offside. VAR chops that off. And then he's at the back post. All he's got to do is nod it in the head, and it comes off his arm. VAR chops that off as well. Timo Werner, he just can't get it going, can he?
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN+.